Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, all of you, for coming, because this is a very, very important and momentous occasion for us here at the Victoria Memorial Hall. We have been conceiving of this project for the last few years, so to speak, and just before the pandemic, when things were almost on the threshold of being executed here, then there was a lockdown, and we were in dialogue with the people at Kala Bhavana, particularly Sanchayan Ghosh, and we had decided that we would do it. But then the pandemic came in the way. The pandemic disrupted a lot of things, but it did not disrupt our determination to go ahead with the project even after the pandemic. So we thought that better late than never. Initially, it was planned to be as a coincidence of the centenary year of Victoria Memorial Hall and also the centenary of Kala Bhavana, Visva Bharati. So that was the idea, and then that's why we say better late than never, and it's wonderful. You will just now see after we do the presentations here, we'll go to the site collectively, and you'll see the wonderful job that these 10 past and present students from Shantiniketan have done, executed, which is going to remain as a value-added addition to the Victoria Memorial Gardens. So may I request Dr. Joyantha Sengupta to please come and say a few words of welcome before we get on with the rest of the agenda for the evening.
Thank you, Raju, and good evening, everybody. And I don't have much to say, except that we were originally planning to, we have collaborated with Kala Bhavan before. We had the privilege of collaborating with Kala Bhavan for an online exhibition on Nandalal Bose in 2020-21. But we had been in conversation with Kala Bhavan from around then. And so ideally we would have liked to do this installation in 2021, which was a centenary for both of these two institutions. But because of reasons known to all of you, this didn't happen because of COVID. So it has now happened, and we are especially grateful to Kala Bhavan, to the faculty members, Professor Panwar, Professor Sanchayan Ghosh, Professor Sutanu Chatterjee. But we all, on behalf of all of you, we take our hats off to the team of 10 students who have really worked for 3 weeks in this blazing heat and humidity, and they have proved beyond all doubt that the weather conditions, such blazing heat is no bar to the full expression of one's artistic instincts. So a special thank you to them. So this is a tribute to the idea of the regeneration and conservation of nature, and this will be a permanent installation, of course. People who have had a glimpse of these installations have loved them, and more people will, of course, come to love them. But we hope that this will create a template which will be followed and which will create more of such installations all over the campus, in which Kala Bhavan will be involved again, and other institutions of art will also be involved. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for your support, and it's a privilege and honor to have Professor Uma Dasgupta and Professor Panwar to lend their gracious presence on this occasion. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Joyantha. May I request Professor Uma Dasgupta and Professor Pankaj Panwar to kindly come and take the seats here as a special guests of honor. And may I request Joyantha also once again, please, to kindly come and felicitate our guests of honor. We have a small little token from the Victoria Memorial Hall for you to remember this occasion by. And while we are at it, may I request Joyantho also to felicitate the two, as I would say, drivers of the project, Mr. Sanchayan Ghosh and Mr. Sutanu Chatterjee. The students who have participated in the project are also present here. How many of you are here? May we just have your hands raised, please? Yes. So those are the people who actually executed the work. Lest you feel left out, there are some certificates and some goodies for you, but that will wait for a few minutes now. Okay. So I would now like to request Professor Uma Dasgupta to say a few words on this occasion. Umadi? Would you like to do so after seeing that? No, not at all. Not at all. You could. Maybe we can have these as reactions. Yeah. Sure. Okay, fine. And Pankajji, would you also like to reserve your comments till later? Okay.
I have seen it in between time.
Yeah, you have taken a sneak preview. Yeah. Okay. Right. So I would now like to request Sanchayan to come and say we have a small little PowerPoint over here explaining the process of work and how it happened very briefly before we collectively go to the site. But before that, do we ask the guests of honor to hand over the certificates to the students, right? So let us do that, because once we are there, it will get a little chaotic here. Please. Yeah. Bibu Pal, please. So you could take turns, give it to them. And ekekta kore debe onader. The certificate and the bag gonake dao. Yeah. Oindrila Hazra. Yeah, Oindrila is from Bangladesh. Thank you for participating in the project.
Thank you.
Pankaj Boshak. Alok Haldar. This is Pankaj Boshak. Alok Haldar. Shreya Mal. And Pallab Kumar Jana hasn't come. Okay, that can be taken by somebody else. Yeah. Na pore di diyo. Abhishek Chakraborty. ক্যামেরার দিকে তাকান। প্রবীর মণ্ডল। Amiable Ami. Yes, also from Bangladesh. And Kaushik Biswas. Okay, so may I invite Sanchayan to please come up now, and maybe you won't be able to see from here, yeah? So probably it's...
Hesitant about coming here.
Yeah, I know you can't see from here, right. And after Sanchayan has been through this presentation, and we just go collectively, and would anybody from the students want to say? I leave it to you, Sanchayan, at the end before we go, yeah.
Thank you, and I welcome all of you to this afternoon inauguration session of this almost a month-long process, but it started off almost 1 year back when Jayanto Babu, Jayanto Sengupta was, and Rajuraman, Mr. Rajuraman sort of approached Kala Bhavana that how there are so many of these trees which are dead and it's in its own way or has been affected by Amphan or some natural calamity, was lying unused for a long time. So if there is a possibility that some kind of interaction could happen and they can be used in the environment itself, and I think it's a fantastic gesture from National Institute to come up with this kind of idea to have students come and work with it. And especially Shantiniketan is the most, I think, apt institute to be approached to, because with its long history of engaging with the natural environment and long history of public sculpture also, working with natural materials in the location, in the site. And that was a very interesting situation for the students also. I think that, this is a slide which is almost like some lines around the concept which sort of emerged as the process also developed, that what to do, how to do with these broken trees or branches that are lying in the environment and how to make them. So we have been thinking that what should be the content of these works. Will it have specific content, or it will be just you follow the fragments of nature and develop certain sculptures? So initially, there were discussions among the students also, okay, what to carve, what kind of, or whether the trees are carvable or not. So, because there are some trees, parts which are almost decayed, so they were not so easy to be carved, but there are some parts which can be transformed into some image. So, we were discussing with the students that what could be the content or a certain area in which we can focus. So then the idea of Victoria being a colonial institute of preserving within an institutional space, and then the nature around it. So how can we also look at preserving certain ideas or elements of nature in the environment? So then I think those elements came up following the parts. So some of the trees which looked like certain animal forms or certain structures came up slowly. So they engaged with the situation of the trees and then sort of transformed them into certain. So they were mostly, it was like following the situation rather than making your own stylistic way of looking at sculpture, the way you do your studio practice. Next slide, please. So these are, I think, very basic ideas in which we were working, that how to work with natural material, how much to transform then, how much to reconstruct, and what are the balance that could be retained within the structures. Next, please. And also this idea of, looking at public sculpture as not an outside intervention, but to work within the environment, trying to find new relationship with the given material, with the surroundings, and make a balance between the two. So next, please. So the process started off, we came for a visit to the sites and then decided some of the trees which were lying there. And next slide. So it happened like I came almost a year back to see some of this and took photographs, but then due to COVID and all, this could not follow up in the immediate months. So last 1 month before, again we came, and then these photographs were shared to the students also, and then they physically came and started the process. So what are the kind of tools that could be used to carve? Those were also decided by the students, because it's not normal studio situation, and also the environment and the heat and how we can improvise with all these things were part of the process. And they were working almost 18 days regularly. And then, but what happened was, interestingly, that there were individual ideas, and then how to bring them together with the situation of the trees and merge them into a kind of a coherent work. So there are individual attempts, but also they come together as a multiple situation. So that became a metaphor of the work also, that how different ideas can coexist, almost like nature where different kinds of plants coexist. So that became a kind of a, next slide. So these are some of the works where certain things were carved on the trees and some things were installed. So there were ideas of creating some form, and they were also assembling or installing certain given. So it starts off like Katum Kutum, as maybe can be referred as a source, that how you interpret found fragment of nature. So next. So yeah, I mean, we were trying to work together with the situation of the environment and how a certain public sculpture can expand that idea of that space and not just become an isolated object that is displayed in public situation. So next, please. And these are some of the process. So some were assemblage, like you can see there are fragments of branches of other plants which were arranged together with around a dead tree to create a network around it, and then it almost became a home of multiple forms of derived from nature. Next. So yeah, some of the methods that we use, that it's a sculptural attempt, but also using installation as a language, assemblage as a language, which is about working with ready-mades or fragments or broken parts and bringing them together to construct certain other relationships. Next, please. So these are some of the works which came up. I think the artists are all here, so they can talk about the works on the site also, and it will be nice here. So next, please. Next. So 5 different locations students have identified, and then there are groups of ideas, there are individual ideas, then others participated in their ideas. So it's a mixture of different ways of engaging with the material. Next, please. So that became the most, where all of them have contributed, the central, not central, but the main area. And there are some other smaller zones where they have also done certain works. So this is all in the process. So now we can see how it has finally ended. So thank you very much. If any of the students want to share, Abhishek, would you like to come up? And
or if they prefer to share,
or you can talk there also. Yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
that's better, because there will be direct relevance over
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah.
Because we want to beat the descent of darkness.
Yeah, yeah.
Before we go.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Right.
And I think I should also end up by giving my thanks to the Victoria Memorial and also Raju Ramanda and also joint-endeavour for sharing this platform with our students and Kala Bhavana and make it happen. Thank you.
Is in any event like this, I've always seen it's a vote of thanks that goes on for the maximum number of duration of time. So we thank each other all the time. Yes, certainly. So Mr. Deepak Rai, please lead us to the place where you have arranged for the formal inauguration, and everybody will follow you like the Pied Piper to that place. And after you have been to the various locations where the sculptures have been created, there is some provision for tea back in this, in front of this conference hall. So please do come and have a cup of tea before you leave the campus. So let us go to the actual site. Sanchayan, Sanchayan. So maybe request both of you guests of honor to kindly, there are some Yes. Ja. Bitte. Kommen Sie auch dazu. Ja, ja. Ja, oh. It is a kind of solidarity for the whole project. All right, you just cut it with a pair of scissors, and then all of you collectively go in, have a look.
So I may not do such a good job of it.
No, just be ruthless with it. Just cut it here in between. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, hello. Well done. So please do have a look at the works, and then whatever you have to say, you will say.
You don't know what's underneath, but
Right.
And on behalf of all the students, we are absolutely delighted to have been part of this project, and we are very grateful to the institution and Victoria Memorial Hall for giving us this opportunity. And this work is about giving a new life to this dead tree through our artworks. So after looking at this tree, we had some ideas in our mind. We had gone to all these places and we saw these fallen barks and all these things. So we thought of recreating. Okay.
hold it near to
It has limited power.
Yes, so we thought of recreating elements of nature, for example, animal forms and certain natural structures to infuse a new life into this tree. So you will be able to see different animal forms, not so much clear or particularized, and then these are basically inspirations of root-like structures. So like in a sense giving a new life to this tree, and then there are honeycombs as if new things have come and they have settled here, and the tree is working again as a part of the nature. And there are leaves and there are vegetable forms hanging there. There are birds and also. So I think the title is very much justified with this work as nature, which is reconstructed again through artworks, which are natural elements, and that was all I can say. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Would you say something now or even after seeing the other works? Maybe say a few words now and then we can go to the other side.
Surely. You all also look so beautiful. And however, you've done much more than just look beautiful. You've done very hard work. Very, very hard work. And it is not, not easy. The weight of things must have been quite something, right? The height of things must have been quite something. And it's remarkable how you've done also very minute work, like that honeycomb. I'd love to know, in a few words if you can, how you managed to do that. Because that's so exceptional.
We had formed a structure of scaffoldings, and then these honeycombs, so it's basically made like there are 3 logs on which these wooden pieces have been assembled to resemble a honeycomb shape, as if it's hanging down from the branch. So it's
And you glued them.
no, we actually pinned them down.
Did well.
Yes.
Afterwards,
Yes,
dry
yes,
up.
yes. And it was really an Herculean task, going up there and working there in this scorching heat and all.
Indeed.
Yes.
Indeed. And this is widely acknowledged. Yes.
But the result is really pleasing for all of us to do.
Yeah. And this work this work is exceptional. The out-of-shape animals, I don't have to tell you, I'm sure you know. And Abanindranath Thakur's cartoon cartoon. Plus, of course, as we all know, Shantiniketan used a lot of natural materials to do sculptures. I mean, Ramkipur Page's sculptures were all out in the open. and all made with natural. So, me to say so, it is indeed recognized to be one of the best art schools in the country, and there is obviously no doubt about that, and no doubt about its quality, its excellence, and once again you proved it in a big way, because this is really quite big work. This is not just one piece of art or two pieces of art. You know, reconstructing nature, and that is another thing that I think is, you know, I mean, as I think when the introduction, you kindly asked me, you know, what Lumina have liked this, and I said to her, I said to them quite frankly, that I think Lumina probably would love the tree itself, or the trees, because I wouldn't think that you would necessarily want trees to be shaped into installation. However, these trees would not have lived any longer, so because these trees were already gone. So the best thing you could have done, you know, with his love of nature, if one thought of that as one of the primary ideals of Visva Bharati's innovative education, then this is the best you could do with fallen trees, trees that will die. So wonderful. Really thank you for this work.
Thank you very much, Umari. Pankajji, would you like to say a few words?
Good evening, everyone, and I am so delighted to be present today in such a wonderful evening in presence of Umadi. Umadi has taught us Ghosh studies when we were students, so that's wonderful. And I must congratulate Director Victoria Memorial and Chatterjee, Sanchayan, Sutanu, and all these our students. I know them all. They are mostly sculpture students, some present, some past. And this is a wonderful kind of exercise in Kolkata. I think it is highly required that we have more this kind of exercises of creative artwork in public places. Because normally very few people go to the galleries, and this place is so highly visible, so everybody will come here and look at these environmental sculptures, you can call it installations, assemblage, you can give it whatever you want, but they provoke the audience at various levels. What is the idea, how they are complementing the location, what is the significance of Victoria Memorial as a beautiful structure, what is the role of Kala Bhavana, and how a creative work of art individually and collectively is created. So this is, I think, is a wonderful exercise, and I hope this will lead to many more such kind of exercise where other institutions and people, those who are involved in art and culture, they will get into it. And I wish to see this all rolling into someday that Calcutta celebrates a kind of a yearly, this kind of a festival where we invite artists in different locations, and they, maybe in Victoria, like a residency or artists staying here and creating work of art. So there are many kind of art, contemporary art, creative art practices can come where in the public places, and it will be very good for the general awareness for the people about art. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pankajji. So shall we move on to the other sites as well? And there are, I think, 4 more preservation,
Right,
which they have suggested to us.
Right.
Okay. Let's move to the next site, please. এটা নিয়ে মেইনলি কারা কাজ করেছিল?
এই গাছটা এখানে আগে থেকেই করেছিল, তো আমি ভেবেছি যে এখানকার মধ্যে কিছু করা যায়। তো আমি লাইন যেরকমভাবে হয় যে এটা যায়, তো খাবারের খোঁজে সেরকমই একটা কাপ করেছি। আর তো একটা সেপারেটলি আরেকটা করেছি, যেটা বলা যেতে পারে ফাদার ফিগার, লাইক একটু তো ওটাই করেছি আর কি, চেষ্টা করেছি।
শাড়ি পরে আছে, আমি
এই যে
সহাবস্থান যাকে বলে সেটাকে অনেকটা দেখানোর চেষ্টা করেছি। গাছটা বকুল গাছ, একটা মৃত, এটাকে আমরা কার্ভ করে একটা সাপের ফর্ম দেওয়ার চেষ্টা করেছি, যেটা র্যাপ করে ওঠার একটা মানে পরিস্থিতিতে আছে। কেন? কারণ উপরে হচ্ছে একটা পাখির বাসা, যেখানে পাখির ডিম দেখা যাচ্ছে। এবার সাপটা ওই ডিমটা খাবার উদ্দেশ্যে মেইনলি উঠছে। এবার পাখিটা ডিমটা পেরে রেখে চলে গেছে, যার ডিমটা ওখানে উপস্থিত আছে, কিন্তু পাখিটা নেই, যার কারণে ওটা একটা রিস্কে আছে, মানে ওটার একটা লাইফ অ্যান্ড ডেথ সিচুয়েশনে আছে, যে কোনো সময় ডিমটা নষ্ট হয়ে যাবে। আর একটা ডিম মানেই একটা জীবনের উৎস বা একটা জীবনের নতুন একটা অধ্যায়। তো ওটাকেই আমরা একসঙ্গে দেখানোর চেষ্টা করেছি, জানি না কতটুকু পেরেছি।
তো কাজটা তো সবাই করেছে, হ্যাঁ সবাই সাহায্য করেছে। হ্যাঁ, তো অ্যাকচুয়ালি এখানে দেখানোর চেষ্টা করেছি এটা মানে সোসাইটি, মানে
ব্যাংকটা কি সোসাইটির প্রেসিডেন্ট
সেরকম। হ্যাঁ, ওই সামনে একটা বাচ্চা
এই ব্যাংকটা কুয়োর মধ্যে
যে ফড়িং দিয়ে একটা পুরো গাছকে ফড়িং গাছে পরিণত করে, আর গাছটার ভেতরে দুটো পেঁচা কার্ভিং করা হয়েছে, কার্ভিং করে দুটো পেঁচাকে বসিয়েছি আমরা। বেসিক্যালি সেরকম কোনো কিছু ভেবে করিনি, জাস্ট ভালো লেগেছে গাছটাকে দেখে, মনে হলো এর উপরে কিছু ইনস্টল করলে ভালো লাগতে পারে, তাই ওপরে ফড়িংগুলো ইনস্টল করে নিচে একটা পেঁচা দিয়ে কাজটা।
প্যাঁচা দুটো কি আলাদা করে বসিয়েছেন
আলাদা করে
নাকি?
বসানো নয়, এই গাছটাকে পুরো কার্ভিং করেই
করেই
আস্তে আস্তে,
প্যাঁচাটাকে
হ্যাঁ,
রূপ দেয়া।
তারপরে এটাকে একটু বান করা আছে।
মানে ওটাকে শেপ দেওয়া হয়েছে।
ভেতরে প্যাচা দুটো ছিল, ওরা শুধু বার করে দিয়েছে।
হ্যাঁ, বার করে দিয়েছে। আর ওই পাশের যে পরিবেশটা আছে ওর সঙ্গে এই ওয়েদারটা খুব ভালো যাচ্ছে, যে কারণে আরো বেশি ভালো লেগেছে আমাদের এটা।
রাইট না, সে তো করেছো, কিন্তু যেটা মুশকিল করেছে সেটা হচ্ছে এটাকে একটা সেলফি পয়েন্ট বানিয়ে দিয়েছো তোমরা। ওইটা আমরা একটু কন্ট্রোল করতে হবে।
পাখিগুলো বসছে আরো বেশ ভালো লাগছে।
Good, very good, excellent. I'd like to say last words of thank you before we go for tea.
I would like to, on behalf of everybody, on behalf people of Kolkata and people who come to the Victoria Memorial and who appreciate good art, good public art, I would like to sincerely thank all students, all faculty members, and to Kala Bhavana in general for their support. I have been shown other potential spots for more sculptural installations. So please keep watching this space. You never know what you're going to get. Yes.
Phase 2.
Yes, please. Thank you so much. Thank you. And now there is some tea and
Now we'll go back to where we started from, in front of the conference hall, for some tea if it hasn't got too cold. If you're lucky, it hasn't got too cold by now. So let's go have some tea and go with all these good thoughts and new ideas for the second phase. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming.